I'd like to call the Municipal District of Tabor, June 9, 2026, regular meeting of council to order. You have an agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions?
Just one addition, actually, there's already a space on the agenda for notice of motion. I did circulate one to council, so I'll be speaking to that later in the meeting.
Okay, we'll just have a specified spot for that. Thank you, Wayne. And John?
Yes, I would like to add a closed session item as I had a meeting with the minister yesterday. And I'd like to go into closed session for government relations.
So a risk to government relations and a follow-up from your meeting.
Yes,
Is that with respect to intergovernmental relations? Just
Yes.
to clarify.
yeah, intergovernmental relations, correct.
And maybe before we get there, I'll get the correct spots from those two acts. I should be able to find it from the other ones. But okay, with that, is there any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
I can accept the agenda with the additions.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor? That motion is carried. Okay, we have the May 26, 2026 council meeting minutes. There was a note on there of a correction, but it's already corrected as presented. So we don't need to make that note. But if someone wants to accept the May 26th. Okay, thank you, Ernie. Ernie moves the acceptance of the May 26, 2026 council meeting minutes. Those in favor? That motion is carried. Declaration of conflict, pecuniary and or conflict of interest.
Yeah, I'll probably excuse myself from the second part in closed session. The land sale purchase options.
Okay, thank you. All right, and announcements and recognitions. I have a couple, but does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring forward? So I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Diesel Liptak. He was the Alberta High School Rodeo Reserve Champion in tie-down roping. So a significant accomplishment for one of our MD of Tabor residents. And so we're pleased that he'll be carrying on to compete at the nationals. So a very, very big effort. And he's also a significant volunteer at the Tabor Agriplex. So we really appreciate his promotion and his accomplishment in tie-down roping. And keeping with rodeo, it's a much sadder spot. We would like to acknowledge Mr. Bud Van Cleve. He passed away. Mr. Bud Van Cleve has been a resident and rancher in the MD of Tabor his entire life. And his accomplishments are huge, not only in our community, but he was the Canadian champion in 1951 in wild horse race. 1952, he was the Canadian all-around, and he won the Canadian calf roping championship in 1959, 1961, and 65. And in 1998, he was inducted into the Canadian Rodeo Hall of Fame. So we appreciate everything that Mr. Van Cleve brought to our community. He's been a promoter of our area, a promoter of rodeo, but also did a lot of work to help young ranchers and farmers in this area. So on behalf of the MD of Tabor, we offer our condolence to his family and thank Mr. Van Cleve for all his efforts throughout his lifetime. All right, if there are no others, we'll continue. Next on the agenda is the public comment period. Not seeing anyone in council chambers. Is there anyone online?
No.
Thank you. So next up, we have our delegation, Tank 77, Mrs. Doreen Pawlowski. So we'll invite you to come forward and our staff will get the mic connected. And while they're getting set up, we'll do a quick introduction and then Mr. Croft will introduce the subject matter. So if we can just start with you, Ernie.
Meet you.
I'm David Torrey, and I'm Division 3 of the Grassy Lake area.
Pleased to meet you.
And Tamara Mianega, I represent Tabor north to the Old Man River.
Good morning. My name is John Trucado. I represent Division 2, which is south of Tabor.
Good, thank you.
And I'm Lane Johnson. I have the good opportunity to be on the board for the museum with Doreen.
Murray Reynolds, Division 6, that's Inch area. Good morning.
Okay, very nice.
And Councillor Condor isn't able to join us at this time, but he represents the Hayes area. Vauxhall area.
Okay, very good.
And then we'll go to,
And Arliss Crofts is the CAO with our administrative team here, present to help. Yeah. Good to meet you. So, Mrs. Pulowski is here representing Tank 77 Museum, and I think she'll speak briefly to proposal that they have with respect to one of the, I want to call it an exhibit because that's what it is, but the exhibit that's in the front lobby with respect to what's outlined in the agenda. So I'll turn the time to you, Doreen.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Doreen Pulowski. I'm a member, director of the Tank 77 Museum, which we really are trying to make it a living thing in our community to represent the history of the past and the present events that go on along with it. I have been involved in the last year with it, and my role that I've been asked to do is to set up displays to tell Tabor's history. The one that you probably are more familiar with is the one that I did for Tank 77 for the history of hockey. We looked in our archives. We had 2 hockey sticks and 3 pucks. That's what I started off with the display for the history of hockey in Tabor. And I knew very well there was lots more. So I found people in the community that could help me, and the people in the arena were very helpful. I ended up with 7 tables that you may have seen when you came to that event. So doing a lot of research is part of my job. Right now, I've got one ready that's already up for Dr. Hammond, because a lot of people know Dr. Hammond Elementary School, but they don't know how and who he was. So I've set up a display for that as well after doing a lot of research and finding out interesting things that people in the community are either related or have some direct connection with it. My present project is Johnny Longden. And when I was doing the research for Dr. Hammond, I found out that there was they were neighbors. And then I found out more and more about Johnny Longden, and I was really intrigued about all the different things that he is able to accomplish in his life. And he always said that his hometown was Tabor. I found tremendously interesting things about him. When I looked in our archives, we had 4 pictures, one of which I've had photocopied, and that's my start of my research, was to find out what the Tabor Museum had. And when I did that, I started collecting all the research that I've done through what we have here. One of the big things was the Golden Jubilee that Tabor had. And he was invited here for 3 days of celebration, and he was honored through all of that, from the parades to the banquets and all the rest of it. And in that wonderful book that we have is a lot of the research that I found. Internet is wonderful as well. But when I found that there was only that amount, I thought, I remember something that is in the hallway, the foyer of the Tabor town office and the MD. I checked it out, and there is Johnny Longden's jacket and his saddle and a trophy. So what my request is of you is that we may borrow them for the museum to finish setting up this display that I have created from all these little tidbits of information that I've highlighted through all my research that I have done. I've highlighted, and from there I've made this display. But with your permission and whoever, apparently there's no really protocol of who we get permission for or what are the regulations for it. So I'm requesting to you that we borrow it from, or keep it, from now till Thanksgiving to complete our display. Because when we open up the museum, we want to really feature these new things that we are discovering. With each of the displays that I've put up, I've also created a little game that you can do self-directed, or you can play as a tour group as part of it, highlighting the information that I have been able to get. So with your permission and whoever else I need to get permission, may we borrow those for that period of time?
Thank you so much, Doreen. We're should get going on a tour to the museum.
Oh, please come, because I have revamped the museum displays, and I want to keep it alive and inviting to people to come again and again to see the displays that I keep changing. Last year I had 9 different ones plus the reorganizing. So it's fun. It's really interesting, and I want people to get knowledge of what has happened in our town.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to council to ask questions or make a statement, but I want to just ask our administration if the protocol is for their authorization or if this requires a motion of council.
I would prefer a motion of council. I just don't know. I'm definitely in favor of transitioning it to the museum. It seems most fitting there. I just don't know any of the history or anything behind it. So I think it would be a great opportunity for council to provide an additional exhibit to the museum.
Okay, I'll go to anyone who wants to ask, starting with Councillor Turcado.
I really appreciate your enthusiasm. It's quite infectious, and I appreciate that. I really do. And I would definitely be in favor of, I don't know what the protocol is or how it ended up there. I guess the history is the history. And thankfully, we have people like you to make sure that we maintain that.
Thank you.
As I said, I'm on the board with Doreen, and there is a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of interest in bringing stories to life that have taken place or are part of the Tabor history. I would certainly support a motion to move forward with the request and commend Doreen in particular for her efforts in making this happen.
Thank you.
So before we continue the conversation, Deputy Reeve, that a motion to accept and go forward with the request from Tabor Museum regarding Johnny Longden.
Did you make?
No,
Okay,
you.
so no, I would move then that we approve the request from the Tank 77 Museum to transition the Johnny Longden artifacts from the lobby here in the MD and Town Office building over to the museum.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions to Mrs. Pawlowski or on Deputy Reeves' motion?
Maybe
Yes.
just a clarifying question to the museum. Would you be open, and again, this would be up to council, but would you be open to having it housed at the museum permanently as opposed to temporarily?
We would love to have it. We would really love to have it because we have got the museum requirements of temperature and humidity that it would be preserved probably better than here, and it would add to our collection. It would be wonderful.
Just from what what I gathered from the request, it would seem to be more of a temporary nature, but if there's an opportunity to be there permanent, I think that would be a good spot too.
We would love that.
And I would like to make that part of the motion, that this be on a permanent basis.
Yeah, and I think that's our intent would be that it be part of the museum. Sometimes when these motions come forward, we find out details after. Someone might come out of the woodwork, but I think we'll work with them and with the town of Taber. And so I just really appreciate the initiative. I appreciate the work that the volunteers, including Deputy Reeve and yourself and all the other board members, are doing at the museum. And we'll do our best to promote the museum as well. And we have some other museums throughout the municipality. Perhaps we may have to look at featuring them as well, so that our region is as great only as the history that came before us. So thank you again. So Deputy Reeve has a motion on the floor. Do you have something else, Arlo?
Nope.
That we look at transitioning the display permanently to the Taber Tank 77 Museum. Any questions? Those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. And we invite you to come and see our displays when we open. And I'll take you on a tour.
Thank you for taking the time to attend our meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we all appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, excellent. So we will continue now into the consent agenda with correspondence. I'll just leave those with Arliss to walk us through each one of them. Some are just more for information.
Yes, the first piece of correspondence is from Municipal Affairs indicating approval of our most recent provincial education requisition credit program. It's the amount of $183,000. So I guess every little bit helps with respect to those oil and gas properties that haven't paid. Next one is the board report from Chinook Arch, Regional Library Board System. And sorry, just bear with me here. Gotta scroll and then there's a thank you letter in here from, or a thank you note in here from the Miss Taber Rodeo. I'm not sure. Yeah, Miss Rodeo Taber. We provided a small sponsorship for her in representing the region on a national level. I think it was about $500. And a thank you note from the Fitting Edge Junior Clinic and Stock Show participants. That was a previous initiative that council had sponsored / provided a grant to. Can't remember, my memory is failing me, but I believe it was this council. I just can't remember. But
Yes, it was. And we had, oh, you know what? It isn't. It was the previous council because
it seemed to be a
at
little
that
while
time,
ago.
Deputy Reeve de Groot had done some research and had some knowledge that it was a good lineup with 4-H as well.
Yeah.
So you're right.
And just
Thank
for
you.
context, the sponsorships or grants to both Miss Rodeo Taber and the Fitting Edge Junior Clinic was through the community grants donations policy.
It's never a requirement that grant recipients send a thank you, but it is certainly good to see that those important resident dollars are being appreciated and optimized. So I thank them for their notes. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Okay. So those are our correspondence and the only items in the consent agenda. Is there any questions on any of these items or a request to remove them from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would like a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I can move that we accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor? That motion is approved. On to memos, upcoming meetings and events.
So this has been updated. As per usual, I believe through the shared notes function on the agenda. Reeve had added a little bit of additional community events. One event that did come in after we had issued the agenda, or the day of, I can't remember. Let me see here. Anyway, it was an invitation to join South Crow's annual general meeting held on June 18th. I'll just put it on the screen here just for, so you can see the dates. And they're looking for an RSVP in terms of who from council, or how many from council may be in attendance. It's in Raymond on June 18th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. And we weren't able to get it on the events memo. So.
Right. So we'll go ahead.
So I'm just wondering on that, in addition to the usual business of an AGM, is there other things that are going to be on the agenda for that meeting?
So what I read from this, there's presentations from some of the partners, including Andrew Dunlop, Lethbridge Polytechnic. I'm not sure what the topic is. Brandy Old, from Alberta Innovates. The BIPOC Foundation, not totally sure what that is. And this other individual and Community Futures Lethbridge will be providing presentations. So it sounds like a little bit more than just the AGM. Short presentation from the Canadian Renewable Energy Association as well.
So those partners that are, all those presentations are linked to RINSA, regional, I can't remember the acronym, what it means, but the City of Lethbridge used to do their business of RINSA. And so now South Crow has taken that on. And so these are all presenters that are going to show what they do, because lots of people don't understand what RINSA is, including me. So they're there to educate the partners of South Crow.
RINSA would be the Regional Innovation Network of Southwestern Alberta.
Yes.
Yep. That's the acronym, but I'm not familiar with them.
So this, although Councillor Takeido sits on South Crow, they definitely want additional people to attend this meeting. It becomes a fairly good networking. I did hear one of the councillors who attended FCM that they appreciated that there was rural and urban. This is another one of those opportunities where you'll have that. I'm at St. Mary's grad that night, so I can't attend. So once that invite comes out, or if you know already, then please RSVP.
Where in Raymond is it?
At the seniors.
Sorry, I'm just
The seniors.
center.
We had meetings there before. It's on the west side of Main Street.
Okay.
Raymond Senior Center. Yeah, we'll put that in the invite details.
It's a Thursday evening.
Finding it on Google Maps is sometimes challenging. The first time I went to the senior center, it was hard to find.
Yeah, it's kind of in an alley.
Yes, it is.
So I was thinking about that Newell thing, like, you're thinking we got two going there. Anyway, I was trying to figure out whether to go to that, but maybe I should go to the South Crow one.
We'll send out the invite as per usual, and then you decide based on how you accept those.
And I'm debating with
Yeah, and it's quite an extensive agenda at Newell as at the at CDC Newell Ag Summit.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to.
I'd like to speak to the Ag Summit a little bit. Apparently in the afternoon, late afternoon, the new Ag Minister will be in attendance.
Mhm. Mhm. So both very important events, but as I often say about these events, you learn something, but it is the time in between and the connections that are made that are the most important. So hopefully people can adapt their schedule. We do have an event that we have people going every direction and are not able to attend. I will write an email on our behalf and send our regrets. We can't be everywhere. And then the other area that I wanted to just point people out to is the July 1st. We have requests to be in Vauxhall and in Tabor. So historically, Tabor, MD of Tabor Council showed up at 7 or 6:30 and helped with their pancake breakfast. Then some stayed on to go do the parade and the other events, and some of us ran back to Tabor to do their opening. So that's my plan, and then return back to Vauxhall. So it's a bit of a back and forth on the highway, but they're important events for us to be at. So I just wanted you to know what, if you're available, especially for in Vauxhall, come with your cooking clothes on and then switch to your parade clothes. Councillor Reynolds.
Yeah, some of you that were talking about the event in Brooks, or you might have already had to have had tickets. I'm not sure. Might be.
Right, because it could be a sold out event.
Yeah.
So
Jordan mentioned that he bought, in the email he sent me, he mentioned that he bought tickets for it.
yeah, so perfect then. And I think right now then that would show that Councillor Reynolds and Councillor Peters are attending that event. So we can see. Yes, Lane.
I would think if there's interest from others, that there may be an opportunity for
Perfect.
additional to participate. Just reach out.
Good. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I'm frying sausages at the breakfast in Vauxhall,
Perfect.
so I am not coming to Tabor.
That's just fine. We'll split up and we'll make sure MD of Tabor's represented. And then the Barnwell Parade, I wanted to double check, July 18th. And so we don't have to decide today, but historically, what the MD of Tabor has done is attended the parades that were in our geographic region. So Barnwell, Vauxhall, and Tabor. There is a parade every weekend through the summer that some councils choose to go to. We don't have a policy limiting us, but that's just been what the historical role of MD of Tabor is. But if people, of course, we received the invitation from Pincher Creek. If it's something someone really wants to do, what we've done in the past, we have now a wrap truck. So we need a driver and then someone who either throws or hands out candy. So just those parade events, something to keep in mind. And we have our hockey sweaters we could wear all together, or we can find another piece of matching clothing that is kind of nice to people know who we are. So just keep those parades in mind, and I'll maybe chat with people at lunch. Is there anything else on this list that we're needing to have an immediate RSVP? The Pincher Creek, the cadets, I'll deal with that. Vauxhall Ag Society barbecue invite. I know Ernie said he could attend. Let me see. And if others are available, they probably would really like to have some MD representation. I unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. I'll go to one of the rodeos this summer, but that night I'm not available because my daughter's getting married. So if you're available, please just update your calendars. And if it's getting close to the event, even if you update, maybe fire Lace or Arliss a quick email so it doesn't get lost in the RSVP.
I can probably do that. Ag Society, Vauxhall Ag Society appreciation. If you're not going to be there, I know Councillor Peters is going to be there.
Yeah,
But if they're wanting some additional representation,
it would be nice to have a few more. I know they're hoping to see some more members of council. So yeah.
Yeah, I ran into Judy I ran into Judy Leeson at the store and I told her I'd be there, so.
Perfect.
Well, Norma and I both are going.
Very nice. Okay, so and then we have the Halo hangar, and Councillor Peters said he also is available to go to that.
My sister's on the board, so it's an attraction.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so is there anything from your own committees that we're missing? One of the items that in the memo that was asked is if we wanted to do something at the Town of Tabor Farmers Market. They provided a booth, if that's something we're interested in. I haven't really put much thought into that. I wondered if that's something for our fire department, but it seems if we're at their Town of Tabor's, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but maybe that's a later discussion. That farmers market runs all the way through till the end of August, beginning of September. Go ahead.
I guess July the 6th, I believe it is, that's the BMO Farm Family Award thing in Calgary, and I'll be attending that
Oh, good.
that day, so I'll be missing out on the MPC and the ASB meeting. So the alternate chairman can chair the ASB meeting on July 6th. Councillor Tory.
Okay, thank you for representing the MD of Tabor with the BMO Farm Family. And maybe at our next June 30th council meeting, we can do a little feature on the BMO Farm Family. I know that you guys have done that at ASB, but that's a good transition to have that here. Okay, anything else? We have a big agenda, so. Okay, so with that, can I have a motion to receive the upcoming meetings and events memo?
I can accept the upcoming meetings and events for information.
Thank you. Those in favor? That motion is carried. Moving on to requests for decision, non-bylaw. First is curbside waste pickup Hamlets.
Yeah, I'll let our Director of Operations speak a bit more to the details, but on a big picture perspective, the proposal is ultimately to look to enhance or make more consistent across the municipality waste collection, so within the hamlets specifically.
Thanks, Arliss. Yeah, so in 2021, Grassy Lake, the hamlet of Grassy Lake, received curbside waste pickup, and it's gone exceptionally well there. It decreases the amount of volume that we see at our tipping station and landfill, which is good for us because we have to pay for the trucking out of that terminal. So we're looking to extend those services to the hamlet of Enchant and the hamlet of Hayes as well. This is kind of as well driven by the extended producer responsibility program rolling out in the province. For them to roll out curbside recycling in hamlets, they need to see curbside waste pickup there first. Once we get curbside waste pickup in the hamlets, they have 18 months to roll out the curbside recycling program as well, which is free of charge to the residents and the MD. So those are the driving factors behind this. We're asking for approval to roll out these programs in those two hamlets and to amend our 2026 budget to purchase 250 bins for these hamlets, which is over and above what we actually need, but we do need spares just in case they get broken. So.
Councillor Takeda.
My only question, I guess, would be, so let me understand. So we'll spend 23,000 on the bins, but then the residents will be paying the monthly fees on the disposal of the waste in the bins. Is that right?
The pickup, yes.
The pickup. And so does then that save us on tipping on the other end? Is that included in the pickup?
Tipping is not included in the pickup.
So that we would still maintain the
Still
charge
need-
of tipping. The only difference would be the level of service they'd be receiving for the monthly fee of the garbage, waste pickup.
That's right.
Okay.
That and the reduction in the trucking from our tipping stations.
Also, the tipping itself, so that the trucking would be a reduction to our budget.
It includes the transport of whatever waste is in the garbage truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of residents about this and they're like, they didn't figure it was. Two of the ones that I talked to didn't figure it was necessary in Enchant being as the landfill was so close, but. I don't know, I was just wondering if we. Should reach out to the residents in Enchant and Hayes and see if it's. Figure it's necessary or not, I don't know, I just, from the couple I talked to, they. Didn't think much of it, but.
So from what I understand, this is an extra $11 a month fee on their bill, on their monthly bill?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I just know because of where I live, I benefit from solid waste pickup right out of my driveway. And it's the best $15 a month that I spend. I can't imagine that anybody would think it's a hardship to pay $11 a month to have their garbage picked up right at their street side.
Eventually, sorry if I can add, eventually, as Corey mentioned, it will include curbside recycling as well. And as he mentioned, that's producer pay, so it's not cost to the MD or the residents. So one kind of pushes the other. It does divert. It will also divert some waste type materials from our landfills when you combine the two as well. The detailed statistics, we don't have that. I can't tell you that.
Having said that, it's a real benefit. Has any information gone out to the public about the possibility of this coming into place? Or are we making a decision now that's simply going to be imposed without any information having gone out in advance?
We have not inquired with the public about this program.
But it doesn't, like, the proposal is September 1st implementation. I mean, that provides us opportunity to inform, but not necessarily consult.
I will also note that as part of the recycling program that's rolling out in the province, they require depots to be at a manned facility. So instead of having depots in our hamlets that are unmanned, we have to mobilize or move them to our landfills. So residents will be forced to do recycling at the landfill as well as garbage drop off. So recycling in the hamlets will no longer be in effect. So
Eventually, which then pushes some importance on curbside.
Might be a question that you won't have an answer for, but so at the landfills, the attendant there asked you if you're from farm or town or whatever. You probably don't really have a comparison of how much hamlet people compared to the rural are bringing stuff to our landfills. Like in comparison, I don't.
we do have the data. I don't have it with me, but
Right.
we do know who's bringing from hamlets versus rural. So.
Okay.
I know when Grassy Lake made the switch, I believe they used to be picking up once a week at the transfer station, and now we pick up once every 3 weeks. So.
Go ahead, Dick.
I live in a place where I know I'll never have anything picked up. And anyway, it's a huge hassle. You know, I have my bins in my garage, and when they get so high, then round up a truck and load. I mean, it just seems like the direction to go. And if it can divert garbage
away from what we have to deal with. And then the recycling part's a no-brainer. If it's free, that diverts even more away from any of our stuff and our trucking. I don't know. I think it's a great service. I wish I could get it, you know, where I live.
Yeah, so I'm not opposed to it at all, but I think the rollout is extremely important of how we do it. And we have to explain what value it is to our landfill, to our residents, and to the MD overall. What happens to rural residents who may come into those hamlets to drop off their recycling? There are some who definitely do that. Will they have access at the landfill site? Because right now we have one in Purple, one in Grassy. I'm sorry, I don't know where the Enchant one is located, and then Tabor at our MD shop
Yeah.
and Hayes.
All of our depots will be at the landfills,
Okay,
starting in October.
And that should also provide some future additional cost savings as well, because they'll pay for that so long as it's manned. Right, so that's
So-
kind of separate from this topic, but it is a nice added benefit.
right. So will we work in conjunction with the town of Vauxhall, the village of Barnwell, and the town of Tabor to enhance whatever grant they're gonna have for this, so that our rural residents, always my fear, and because I live somewhere at the end of a road where I've seen people chuck their bag out and now I go and pick it up for them. I always want to make sure we're making best efforts that everyone can get rid of their waste in the best way possible.
From a recycling perspective, we can touch base with the town in Vauxhall to see if they're part of that. I'm sure they are. To confirm that they're part of that program, and it should benefit our ratepayers as well. But
I'm gonna go to Lane
follow-up.
first.
That will be a follow-up.
Okay,
Just to
thank you.
confirm.
Lane, and then John.
Is there a timing issue that we need to be aware of as far as approving a contract and making sure that we're in a position to implement by, is it September?
Yeah, just the delay would be getting the bins. That's,
Okay.
Bins and adjusting the bylaw.
yeah.
'Cause I'm just wondering, before we move forward with the decision, would it be recommended to actually provide some notice that we're looking at moving in this direction, and then come back in a month with approval after we've had a chance to at least let the people know that this is a matter that is being considered by council and would impact the way that their services are being provided? I just like to avoid a situation where we make a decision now and implement and then notify. It's always best to notify, provide an opportunity for some feedback, and then make the decision.
John.
So just a bit of clarification here. You'd said that they will pay for the transportation of the recycling once it's at our hamlet landfills. When you say they, who is they?
The same program that pays for
So that wouldn't be the residents?
curbside, no.
Okay, so then that's where the cost savings comes in, because right now we're transporting those trailers to wherever they're going, and that takes quite a bit of manpower.
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Just for perspective, I didn't realize Grassy Lake was different then. I knew they had bins, but I've never had anyone ever complain about garbage. They've only complained about water. Not once in any meeting has everyone said, there's not a big enough bin or anything. So I've never heard anything negative about the garbage. They love living in Grassy Lake, except the water.
And just for perspective, those bins came in 3 years ago or,
2001, actually.
oh,
20.
2020. Sorry, 2021.
I'm like, but still 5 years. And that we didn't have a different option. Like there was different methods that the garbage was picked up. And so this had to be rolled out quite quickly. So I don't disagree with Lane at all on that people should be made aware. But I also feel like my comment stands true. If we're going to just say, let's have this consultation or information, but we're doing it anyways, it still is the same. So I feel that it would just be pushing it down the road. So I just feel that it should be informed that these are the reasons that we, as a council and as a municipality, feel it's important, and give people the transition time and the awareness, because, you know, the things that, you know, you want to have those frequently asked questions. What if I am over on my bin? You know, what do I have to do? Or do I still get a chance to have fall cleanup for the large items? Do I, if I have something to go to the landfill, still have an opportunity, or does it become like the town of Tabor where you get 3 tickets, or I don't live here, so I don't know how many, but they get free tickets to go to the landfill. You know, I think just to make sure that the rollout is tight enough that we can answer. There will always be unforeseen, but I do think having to man our sites, having to, yeah, I think this is the way that it's going. And we were a bit nervous how it would look in Grassy Lake too. And we didn't have any, because I kept thinking, oh, these bins will be not just flying through Tabor, but they'll blow right to Medicine Hat when they're in Grassy Lake. But I think people adapted and figured it out and did well. And you can tell it's such a clean and nice community. So that would be my only comment to Lane's, but it's the rollout that's very important to me.
I can make a motion that council approve the implementation of Hamlet curbside waste collection in Enchant, Grassy Lake and Hayes with the anticipated start date of September 1st, 2026, and further enter into a 1-year agreement with E360S for curbside waste removal in the hamlets of Enchant, Grassy Lake and Hayes, and that council approve the amendment to the 2026 budget for the purchase of 250 bins for $23,000 to be funded from the landfill reserve and to be distributed in Enchant and Hayes.
Okay, we can have further discussion on this. If anyone has any questions or comments. Hearing none, those in favor of the read-in motion. That motion is carried. Do you need a motion for us to, or that is just part of your implementation to have a rollout?
We did similar in Grassy Lake, so we'll do that.
Okay.
Just as part of.
Yeah,
part of
I
implementation.
assumed it would, but I just think that is the most important. And then if council, for those of us who don't live, for all of council, it'd be nice to see what that rollout looks like, so that if we get asked questions when we're picking up our mail, we can help answer that.
Sure, yeah.
And then the other question that had come up is then how does it impact the rural residents who are utilizing our hamlet or our neighbors' recycling depots? So that would be good information for council to be made aware of.
Yeah, and that, for sure. And those impacts will happen not right away, but we can indicate that in the material.
Yeah, or just as you continue to roll out the recycling part or the removal of them. So maybe that's not a today's issue. Maybe that's once we're moving closer to that. But whether people believe it or not, that it's a good thing, I can't throw my recycling away. I drive it to the shop recycling and sort it out. And there's many people who do. Those are full bins and they're used throughout the municipality. So it's important. Councillor Peters.
I just have a question for administration. Is Grassy already paying 11 a month? Okay, fair enough. And the other question I have is I'm wondering if Carly could make something up that I could hang up in the bulletin board in the Hayes store that explains what we're going to do, and just put my name and contact information on there.
So our communication, like as part of the rollout, will already require communications resources. So we will share with, what we share with council should be sufficient for that.
Thank you. John.
Just wondering when the next newsletter is coming out from the MD of Tabor.
Well, fall. There'll be one coming out that's already been written, and then the next one will be that fall timeline.
So then that would be too late to be communicated, this initiative to be communicated in? Okay.
It can be continued to be supported as an initiative, but
Okay, any further questions on this topic? If you have others, feel free to email Arliss and he'll, because if you're thinking about it, you bet your residents are thinking about it. So, thank you. Okay. Bylaw enforcement officer appointments.
So these come sometimes a few throughout the year or occasionally with respect to our partnership with Tabor Police Service for bylaw enforcement within the MD of Tabor. They do require an official appointment to be able to lawfully enforce our bylaws and any other provincial statutes that they're authorized to enforce. So as they receive new officers, they are appointed accordingly.
I can give you the motion that the Municipal District of Tabor appoint pursuant to Section 555, Sub 1 of the Municipal Government Act of Alberta as the designated bylaw enforcement officer and bylaw officer, that the following Tabor Police Service members, new members, Aaron Brevik, Kyle Larman, and Philip Daniels.
Okay, any questions on those appointments? Those in favor of the read-in motion? Motion is carried. Lot purchase application, Lot 1, Block 40, Plan 251066.
So this particular matter is before council simply because our council's approved lot sales policy and corresponding agreement for the subdivision Grassy Lake does require approval with respect to a proposal to move an already previously occupied home onto one of those lots. The development aspect and development approvals comes through the if it's a discretionary, through the development, well, comes through the development authority, whether that's a development officer or the MPC. Likely the MPC in this case. Those details are addressed at that point in time, and this is just more so allowing for the use of or the moving in of a previously occupied home. If you have anything else to add.
No, just that this discretion that council has chosen would be one method of approving and looking at these discretionary elements. The alternatives would be just architectural controls of some sort, through an ASP or such. So this is the mechanism that the MD has chosen for dealing with or looking at these considerations.
Couple of questions. I assume that this is probably going to be the first residents moved into that new development.
Well, it'll certainly have to go through the permit process and such, but we would expect it'll be one of the first for sure.
Because with that being the case, it's going to kind of set the tone for the type of development that's going to take place there. The question I have, in the deposit requirement, is there an expectation that the owner is going to have to meet a certain standard with regards to the exterior finish? Looking at the pictures for the home, it would indicate that there is a need for new siding for the entire house, as opposed to trying to patch what's there. And I would just want to make sure that if there's a deposit that's going to be required, that it be sufficient, that will keep the feet to the fire, and that the work will be done.
Yeah, my expectation is that that falls within the development permit process, and then implementation of that security also falls with respect to the conditions of the development process. So my recommendation to them, to MPC, I'm pretty sure it's MPC. But anyway, my recommendation to the development authority would be to ensure there's sufficient security, preferably in the form of a letter of credit, irrevocable letter of credit, but that's just my perspective, so that we have a attractive and aesthetically pleasing development in that new subdivision. I believe on the human side of things, I believe that there's every intention to meet that, but we still have to address those liabilities, like you said, those risks, sorry.
Yeah, this came up. We had someone present to us of a concern, and this is this, what we have this in place. I think having to have this bond posted is different, and bond isn't the right word, but deposit or a letter. I really do think that holds that's a lot of money to not do what you say you're going to do. And then I would put a lot of responsibility on MPC to ensure that that property has the look of a new build. But there is some cost savings for certain to move it on. But I really struggled when I saw the inspection and seeing it into our brand new lots, and also knowing the quality of homes that are in Grassy Lake already. People take great pride. So I hope this happens quickly. And that might be on MPC. Is this coming to a MPC meeting shortly?
Well, once they apply for development permit. It will
Okay.
be- It will be,
It's kind of
The
waiting
norm-
on this
normal
to do
process.
the next part.
yeah, so this would provide surety, more surety for the sale, depending on council's decision.
Right.
And then next steps, as in any other scenario, would be the development process.
I just remember that there was a real ratty looking house moved into Hayes. And once the guy had finished putting siding on it, it looked like a brand new house. It looked really, really good.
And that's why I want to have an open mind and why we put this in place. But I do, always makes me hold my breath, because the opposite has happened in Enchan, that we thought we were going to have a nice looking place, and it really detracted from the neighborhood. So I think MPC will have to just look at some timelines and things like that. Because if you're building a brand new house and you have to wait 12 months. So, but I also don't want to be so caught up in what a house has to look like. Any other comments or questions on this lot sale? Someone prepared to make a motion?
I can move that Municipal District of Tabor accept the lot purchase application for block 1, block 40, plan 2510666, which is 905 4th Street North, Hamlet of Grassy Lake, in the Hamlet of Grassy Lake, and the lot be sold to Bar 9 Farms for $100,000 plus GST for a total of $105,000, subject to the MDT's standard lot sale agreement and option to purchase agreement in according with the lot sales and development policy, including required deposits, development timelines, security provisions, and buyback option, all to the satisfaction of administration.
I have one, thank you, Councillor Peters, for reading that in. Please note that Councillor Condor joined us at 9:56. Hi, Councillor Condor. And then, thank you for joining. And administration, I want to ask you, do you feel this motion is adequate to ensure an aesthetically pleasing brand addition to a brand new subdivision? Or are we missing anything that you were hoping we would add?
That assurance is gonna come at the development stage,
Okay,
to be
that's,
quite candid.
we'll deal with that there then. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we have a read-in motion. Councillor Condor, I noticed you joined as Councillor Peters was reading it. Can you see the screen in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, any questions on the read-in motion? Seeing none, those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Okay, next. Policies, landfill site hours of operation policy removal.
Yeah, the next two policies actually on the agenda are more so just kind of clean up as a result of regular review. So some of them are outdated or less relevant than they perhaps used to be years ago. So first one is the landfill site hours of operation. It was I believe this one was in the form of a old resolution from council about 10, 12 years ago that was just copied and pasted into a policy. We feel that's something that we could likely handle from an administrative perspective. We have set standard hours, but having the flexibility to vary them based on various conditions, most predominantly environmental factors, i.e. wind, is what helps us with having that flexibility administratively to manage those hours.
With that, I can give you the motion that landfill sites hours of operation policy number 43-001 be rescinded and the landfill hours of operation continue to be established based on operational needs.
So I don't sit on ASB. And so those of you who sit on ASB maybe already know this question. But when I hear administration can handle the hours, do we need a policy that says landfills will have hours set by the administration and they'll be publicly noted? I just want to make sure we're not missing anything as to the landfills will just get closed or open, and maybe you could just elaborate on how your conversation went. I believe Councillor Condor and Deputy Reeve Johnson and I are not on that committee, so a little enlightenment would be good.
Yeah, the landfills don't really fall under the purview of ASB.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Ag Services operationally, they oversee some of those operations, but just from an organizational perspective, but it is a council-driven service, right? Like it's...
Absolutely. Yeah. I just was looking at where it was prepared from, and maybe it didn't enter ASB. Maybe it wasn't there.
No, it didn't.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's just me who wants to make sure landfills are open.
At one time, though, Tamara, I believe ASB did have its hands in landfills.
Okay. All right, so the motion was read in, but I'll reread it since I kind of muddied it a little. The landfill site hours of operation policy 43-001 be rescinded and the landfill hours of operation continue to be established based on operational needs. Any further questions? Those in favor? Oh,
sorry. Maybe looks like
administration has a question.
It's just if council wanted a policy to that effect, we've got no issue considering such. We just haven't had any.
I'm okay. I just want to
issues up to this point.
Just want to make sure. Any further comments or questions? Those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. That motion is carried. Next one, rental and service agreement form removal.
Go ahead, Corey.
So this came from committee of the whole. It was reviewed there and recommended to council. This is a form. It's in our policies. I'm not exactly sure why it's in our policies, but it is a rental and service agreement form. So I'm just asking to remove it from our policies.
I'll make that motion that we remove it from. So I guess the motion needs to be that the rental and service agreement form be rescinded and removed.
Thank you. Any questions on the read-in motion? Call the question. Those in favor?
In favor.
That motion is carried. Thank you. Recognition of prior service policy revision.
This is just to summarize, and Mike can speak to the, I guess, meat and potatoes from a financial perspective. This is specifically with regards to addressing um, matters of illness or death for current counselors, past counselors, current staff, past staff, as well as firefighters. So just being able to respond as an organization to those scenarios. So I'm not sure when the previous, do you want to speak to when the previous policy was passed? Yeah.
Yeah, the policy came into effect back 10 years ago, January 1st, 2016. At that time, the amount that was able to be expended was $100. So this policy is mainly increasing it to $250, and then providing some. If you look at attachment B, it has what the current policy is. This is a revised template for one, but then also adding parameters of who's responsible for making sure these things happen, and ensuring that something is done, but also giving the discretionary opportunity to determine whether something should or should not be given, and also some time frames as to when, for employees, in what time frame would we consider someone in this thing, but allowing discretion at the director level or the department level to see where that should go. I don't know if it's the finance is meat and potatoes, but it's it's more of maybe a side dish, but it's a little bit extra for recognizing that over the last 10 years, costs have increased as well.
Questions or comments on the proposed revision?
I'll give you the motion that council approve policy 12-011, recognition of prior service policy as revised.
Any questions on the motion? Those in favor?
Favor.
Thank you. That motion is carried. We had nothing in the consent agenda exemptions. Council request for information. So we do have a notice of motion. So I'm going to propose we take 5-minute break so that that notice of motion came to council via email. Did that also go to Arliss so that they have it there? And then I'll give people a couple minutes to look it over, and then we'll come back. It's 10:07 now. We'll come back at 10:15. we have a notice of motion. I'm actually going to take a minute to, we have a new bylaw, procedure bylaw, and it's good for all of us and good for the public to understand what the notice of motion part of that bylaw is. So I'm just going to give you a brief, just overview of that. So it falls under notice of motion. So a notice of motion shall be used, and I won't read this every time, but since this is the first one, since we've had the new bylaw passed, notice of motion shall be used to introduce a new matter for consideration by council that does not appear on the agenda. It's given at notice is given at a meeting of council held at least 10 days before the meeting at which the motion will be debated, or council passes a resolution by 2/3 majority vote dispensing with notice. For clarity, notice is given only at a regular meeting of council. Notice of motion must give sufficient detail that the subject of the motion and any proposed action can be determined, and it must state the date of the meeting at which the motion will be made. A notice of motion must be given without discussion on the matter, but any written copies distributed may be included and would be considered good and transparent governance practice. Explanatory paragraphs. When notice has been given, the CAO will include the proposed motion in the agenda of the meeting of the date indicated in the notice. So those are the rules that are governing us on notice of motion. So in keeping with those rules, we have today a notice of motion prepared by Deputy Reeve. So I'll turn the time to you, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve Bianaga. Considering the things that are going on in the community right now, I have some fairly significant concerns that, in my mind, council needs to demonstrate some leadership and provide some direction for the community on. I am suggesting that leading up to the October 19th, 2026 referendum, that there is a definite need for dialogue to take place within the community on the matters that are going to be placed on the ballot for that referendum. Personally, I don't have concerns with what the outcome is going to be. I'm quite confident as to what the outcome is going to be. My concerns are that leading up to the referendum, if we do not provide for structured and meaningful, organized dialogue, the community is going to experience even more division than what there has been in the past. And most certainly the day after the referendum, if there hasn't been an opportunity for dialogue to occur leading up to it and understanding to increase, the divisions are going to be even more pronounced after the referendum closes. So I am bringing forward a motion that I would like to have discussed during the June 30th council meeting. The wording is move that during the months leading up to the October 19th, 2026 Alberta referendum, the MD of Taber Council launch a community engagement effort which opens the door for residents within the MD of Taber and other neighboring municipal councils that may also be prepared to participate in identifying and promoting measures that will elevate the province of Alberta's influence within the Canadian Confederation. And while doing so, respectfully acknowledge and publicly reiterate that the right for freedom of expression extends to all members of society, including many who may hold an opposing viewpoint regarding Alberta's future within Confederation. That is the motion I would like to introduce during the June 30th council meeting.
Thank you. So introduction of notice of motion does not allow for debate. It is strictly a notice of motion. Yes. Okay, so the notice of motion, it doesn't look to me from the procedural bylaw that it is anything other than now it is stated and will be included in the June 30th agenda. Correct, Arliss?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Is there any other notices of motion today? Seeing none, we will continue on to closed session. We have 3 items in closed session. I am going to read them all in. The first line is the same for all of them, the first sentence. So closed session pursuant to section 1972 of the MGA and section 20 of the Access to Information ATIA disclosure harmful to business interests of a third party land sale purchase request. That's item number 1. The next one is disclosure harmful of business interests of a third party land sales purchase option. And the third item is section 14 of Div 2 of Part 1 of the ATIA disclosure harmful of intergovernmental relations, section 14. So there are 3 items being discussed in closed. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to move into closed.
And I'll be stepping out on item 15.2, but I will give you a motion to go into closed session.
Thank you. So we'll move to go into closed at 10:20. Those in favor? And thank you for helping us today. All right. So a motion to come out of closed.
Move that we come out of closed session.
Thank you. At 10:55. Those in favor? That motion. Go ahead, Martin. Sorry.
In favor.
That motion is carried. Okay, we have two motions coming out of closed session that I am aware of. So the first motion,
I can move that municipal district of Tabor approve the disposal of 3.58 acres portion of land within lot 3, block 11, plan 0712-622 as surplus, and approve the sale of 3.58 acres parcel from within lot 3, block 11, plan 0712-622 to Richard Stamp at 20,000 an acre as offered, representing fair market value as determined by the 2026 assessment, accredited third-party appraisal, and recent comparable MDT land sales, and ensure that the purchaser is responsible for all costs associated with the sale of MD land, including the land appraisal, subdivision, survey, and legal costs, and proceed with consideration of subdivision per application 2026-0-12 at a future MDT Municipal Plan Authority meeting for approval.
thank you. Any questions on the read-in motion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Favor.
That motion is carried.
I'll excuse myself from the next.
Thank you. Okay, the next motion.
I'll move that the municipal district of Tabor approve disposal of a 79.9 acre portion of the Southwest 27-13-13-18 west of the 4th as identified in attachment A as surplus land, and approve entering into an option agreement with the Bow River Irrigation District to purchase the identified land as outlined in attachment C, valid until August 30th, 2027.
Yes, any questions on the motion? John?
I think there's an extra 13 in the land description.
So you can delete the first 13 or the second 13.
Yeah. We will do so.
Okay, thank you. Good catch. Okay, any other questions on the read-in motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Those in favor?
Favor.
That motion is carried. Okay, is there any other motions out of closed session? Seeing none. Does any, Jazz, I usually double check. We've covered off all items. Okay, thank you. All right, final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm going to be out of town over the weekend, and I position my flight to be after our so that I can log in for the development meeting
Oh, okay,
in the morning and then 5 in the afternoon to be here for the committee as a whole.
okay, okay, great, thank you.